Welcome to Reddit After Hours. This is r/confessions, where OP admits to stealing thousands from a former employer and feels zero sympathy for it. Our first Reddit post comes from There D Queen Theory, titled, "When I was a kid, I drugged my dad for an entire month." So, a quick warning, this story contains some abuse. My father was a raging butthole. He used to yell at us and beat us and yell about how worthless we were constantly. My mother finally had enough and said that either he gets psychological help or she leaves him. He went to a doctor and was prescribed antipsychotic medication. When he started taking it, he magically became nice. No more beatings, no more yelling. It was honestly paradise. Then, after a while, he turned mean again. We asked her mom what was going on, and she said that he stopped taking his medication because he didn't like the side effects, like whatever that meant. We felt doomed until one day my mom accidentally left his prescription bottle in the kitchen. My sister and I looked at each other and didn't even have to say a thing. She got out a spoon and I ground the white pill into a powder and we put it in his orange juice. What a nice day that we had. We did this every single day, enjoying our temporary happy home until the prescription ran out. Honestly, it was the best month of our childhood, and I'm not sorry about it. OP, I'm not going to say that I support drugging people against their will because, that's wrong. We shouldn't do that. However, as someone who also grew up with a very abusive father, I completely understand. And, I bet that 1 month of calm was like heaven on earth to you. And as an adult, I hope that he's getting the help that he needs now. And if not, hey, I hope at least you're doing well, OP. Our next Reddit post comes from Alone Accident 1467, titled, "My weight loss wake-up call was seeing how ugly my sister is." Ouch, that seems kind of harsh. So, newsflash, I'm overweight, as you can probably garner from the title of this. I've been trying to lose weight for years, and while I have had some results, I'm still technically clinically obese, though not morbidly at least. My sister is also obese, but is closer to morbidly obese than I am. Yesterday, I went on Instagram and her profile popped up. So I decided to scroll through it since I hadn't seen her in almost 5 years and don't really look at my family members' social media much. As I was scrolling, I came across one of her selfies and was just hit with this realization that her face is my face too. I had never realized just how similar we looked. But her selfie was the same face that I see in the mirror every single day. And honestly, I'm horrified. I know this sounds awful, but my sister has always been the ugliest of the kids in my family. So realizing that I look at all like her is not particularly pleasant for me. I realized that one of the reasons we look so similar was because of our face shape, very round and very pudgy. Seeing her and realizing how ugly I think she is and realizing how similar we look has given me extreme motivation to lose the weight and keep it off. Now, I can't do anything about our facial features without surgery, but hopefully by losing the weight, I will be able to think that we look different and won't feel so awful about my appearance anymore. So anyway, I know that I'm an awful sister for saying so bluntly that I think my sister is actively ugly, but it's true. And it's not just her face, she also doesn't take care of herself. She has hair that's been over dyed and is stringy and gross now, and recently got several face piercings. Now, you can have your own opinion, but I think that they're ugly 99% of the time. I'm probably going to see her in just over a year, so I really need to lose the weight by then for fear that anyone will comment on how similar we look. Oh man, let me know what you think down in the comments, but oh my god, did that just sound harsh. Like, good for you, OP. I'm glad that you're taking your health seriously and you're going on this weight loss journey. That is great, but man, to say that about your own sister, I can't fault you if that's how you feel, but just ouch. Our next Reddit post comes from Yogurt Opening, titled, I stole thousands from my employer and got away with it. So, as you can probably guess from the title, I found a gap in procedures and exploited the hell out of it. I wouldn't call it a loophole, just a gap in the apathy of others. Circa 2005, I worked for a company which sold bits and bops of everything both in-store and online. I did stints in the main distribution center dealing with returns, but mainly worked in the store as a shift manager. Part of the role was dealing with returns, which included things that customers bought online. Big things that were the returns was that any item under $10 or which was opened was written off as waste and binned. If it was an online purchase, it didn't require a physical receipt, just confirmation from the manager, which was me, that it was one of our products. This was also before refunds and returns could be done online. They could only be done in store. A bonus was that the refunds for online purchases could either be onto the original payment card or in cash. So, guess what I started doing? I started doing doggy returns for non-existent items. I also knew that the binned returns were sent to the distribution center and binned from there and were never truly counted. Like minimum wage workers counted them and they put in minimum effort. So stock counts were always off. Now, I only ever did small items around 30 pounds a day that I did it for. I did this successfully for 3 years and netted about 17 to 18K in cash. And I used it for my everyday purchases, and little bits went into my savings account. The amount that I had left after that, and I was able to put a deposit down on a house. And honestly, I wouldn't have been able to do that without that money. Now, do I feel guilty? No. Would I do it again? No, but mainly because there wouldn't be any way for me to do it without getting caught. Do I feel sorry for companies which have a problem with theft by employees? No, mainly because they create the conditions which allow it to occur and thrive. In my experience, employee theft happens because they hate the company or do not earn enough to live. The company's first reaction will always be to clamp down and tighten procedures and make it harder while ignoring the root cause. Now, why are your employees stealing from you anyway? What can you do to make your employees not want to steal from you in the first place? Maybe raise wages, improve conditions, improve managers' interpersonal skills? How about share incentives or profit sharing, giving your employees some skin in the game? Whenever I hear of a company with an employee theft problem, I automatically assume that they must be terrible to work for, and honestly, I have zero sympathy. Honestly, and let me know down in the comments if you think I'm overreacting, but honestly, OP, I think you're a huge butthole for what you did, honestly. Like, who cares that it's a big company? If you hate your job, go get a new one. If you don't like your job, like, go work somewhere else. I understand that, like, companies suck sometimes, big companies especially, and sometimes they have managers that suck and they treat their employees horribly. Completely understand that, right? But, like, two wrongs don't make a right. And the fact that you feel zero sympathy, like just stealing thousands of dollars from a company, kind of tells me that you might not be that great of a person yourself, and probably someone that I wouldn't, like, trust to be around, right? So I don't know, maybe I'm overreacting, but I just think two wrongs don't make a right. And if you hated your job that much, you should have gone somewhere else. I mean, was that amount of money really worth you getting potential, like, felonies and going to prison over? I don't think so. Our next Reddit post is from Upstairs Length 6775, titled, I lied and took a company asset home. I got caught, fired, and 4 years later, I still regret it. So, like the title says, this story happened 4 years ago, and I still think about it almost every day. I worked in an IT department for 8 years, and part of my job was managing company assets. There was a TV in the storage room that hadn't been used for years. Nobody even mentioned it, and nobody cared about it. Well, at least that's what I told myself. So, I decided to take it home. But I didn't just take it quietly. I made up a story and filled out a request form saying that I was moving the TV to a supplier's location. A complete lie. The truth is, I was taking it home for myself. I created that fake excuse to make it seem legitimate, and I handed the form in like everything was fine. The guard saw me taking the TV, took a picture, and reported me. That's how I got exposed, and everything escalated really fast from there. It became a big issue in the company. I returned the TV within a few days, but the damage was already done. At the time, I was so defensive. I told myself, it's just a TV. What's the big deal? I felt like people were overreacting and gossiping unnecessarily, but in truth, I had lied. I manipulated the system and I had broken people's trust. My boss was disappointed. They didn't say much, they just ended my contract quietly. I didn't even get a chance to explain. I lost the job, and even worse, I lost all my friends there. People cut me off, unfollowed me, or blocked me on social media outright. No one reached out to me. No one asked what really happened. I became the center of gossip, even among people who had already left the company. Now, I know what I did was wrong. I was manipulative. I was persistent. I thought that I could get away with it. And now, years later, it still haunts me. I miss my coworkers, not even one person in particular, just the entire group. The moments, the laughter, the feeling of belonging. I didn't take the TV because I needed it. I think I just wanted a small win, a sense of control, something that felt like mine in a job where I honestly felt invisible. I regret what I did deeply, and I don't know if people ever really forgive you for something like this, but I needed to just get this off my chest. OP, everyone makes mistakes, right? You can't beat yourself up about it for years and years and years. At some point, you gotta just forgive yourself and move on, right? I'm sure you moved on to a new company, new career with new people. And honestly, I think the only thing you can do here is try to let go of what's in the past because, it's not coming back no matter how much you dwell on it, right? And just embrace where you're going now and try to build meaningful relationships at your new place. Good people make bad decisions all the time, right? You got to learn to forgive yourself and move on. At least you have a lot more sympathy and a lot more of a moral compass than the guy in the last post. That was Reddit After Hours, bringing you r/confessions. Thank you so much for listening. And if you like these posts, like and subscribe as we post a new Reddit video almost every single day.